Hello and welcome to the Rest is Football question and answer episode with Alan Shearer, Micah Richards and me, Gary Lineker. Micah just took a little nip there, a little sip of something. What was that, Micah? Did I spot what you got there?
Just some gin.
A little bit of gin and tonic.
If you want to sponsor us, we're happy. We're not promoting drinking, but I'm in the hotel. I'm doing a podcast from the hotel. And I just fancied a little a nightcap, so yeah.
Good man.
Sip Smith gin.
Other gins are available if you want to sponsor us. Okay, let's get cracking. Interesting question from Brett Parkinson. Do you think artificial intelligence, AI, will ever be a coaching aid during the game where it will impact the game through actual coaching decisions? If so, how far away? Oof. I wonder if some coaches use it now.
It wouldn't surprise me. The technology and everything else that they use now is like remarkable, isn't it? Yeah. So you can imagine, I mean, even when you're seeing the players now where they're taking their tops off and they've got the whatever connected to them and it monitors their runs, their sprints, their everything is monitored. It's like incredible.
AI, please ask me, how do we win the Euros? I have to try that actually, put it in, see what it says. Unquestionably something that's going to creep into our daily lives and more. But it's impossible to predict to what extent, I think. It really is.
Just score more goals than the opposition, that never changes.
Very true. Here's another one, along slightly similar lines in terms of preparation, from Nazrul. As former England internationals, how do you see the role of psychology in preparing players for international competitions? Well, back in my day, there was none, and I think we all lived in an era where, you man up and get on with it and all that kind of stuff. But, people talk more about their feelings now, more about, that psychology side of sport, which I'm sure is hugely beneficial for a lot of players. Was it creeping in your time, Alan?
Yeah, just towards the end, I'd hardly used it at all. Didn't feel as if it was any benefit to me. But I totally understand and get it now. It's a massive part of all sports, for men and for women. Even more so now than it ever has been. Definitely.
And you, Mike, you're not that long finished. It must have been was it around, say, at like clubs like Man City or Villa or?
Yeah, it was around Man City and Villa, and a lot of the players were seeking, I won't say help. Help sounds like a bad word. Just seeking another opinion from someone independent. Let's put it like that, because sometimes I think with this question, it's definitely I agree with Alan. But when the club provide somebody, sometimes you're afraid to tell everything.
Yeah.
And they don't, but subconsciously you think they're reporting back to the club.
Yes.
So a lot of players would go independent. But I think it's massive because if we train every day, don't we? We train on our fitness, we train on everything, health, all that, but you don't train your brain. So I think it's massively important for those who need it, for sure.
Andy Hicks, did any of you ever get injured while on an international break, and were you treated differently upon your return? As a club, it must be incredibly frustrating when, excuse the word, their asset gets damaged playing in a friendly. I don't think I was injured playing for it. Were you?
Yeah, I can't remember getting that many times getting injured playing with England. No,
I did get with England, but it wasn't anything that serious. It was more with Great Britain and the Great Britain injury. So basically, I'll take you back. 2012, we're playing South Korea, and I go over on my ankle, and basically we lose on penalties in that game, and then afterwards. It was Gary Lewin, really good physio, really liked him. And he said he doesn't think it's so bad. So he gives the call to our physio, Man City, it was Lee Nobes at the time, and says he'll be out a week or two. I was out for 3 or 4 months. And that essentially cost me my place in the team. You know what I mean? So it's a nightmare, really. But obviously that's the decision you make when you go on international duty.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm sure. I mean, there's always been the club country thing, hasn't there? Particularly around injuries, and you sort of understand it from the club's perspective, because if a player goes and he gets injured and then he's out for your team, and you're the person that's paying their wages, and then you go and play, and it would obviously be massively frustrating. And you know what it's like, even when one of your players playing and you support a team and he's playing. The one thing you're hoping for is that they don't get injured above anything. It's different, obviously, when you get to a major tournament, because everyone's rooting for their country and all that kind of stuff. But you definitely don't want your players to be injured.
I think, we've said it before. It may be not directly answer to this question, but you're very, very rarely 100% fit throughout the season.
Oh, very rarely.
For the majority of the season, you're playing with some kind of injury that you have to manage. Yeah.
So true. So true.
Yeah.
It's so rare that you think, I feel actually 100%, $1 million. Here you go. From Chris. If for some bizarre reason you had not been able to qualify to play for England or weren't picked, would you claim the grandmother rule and play for another country? And which one?
St. Kitts and Nevis!
Yes!
Going back to the Caribbean! Yes, man! I love England. I love it. I love playing for the national team. But imagine going to the Caribbean for 2 weeks in international.
You'd never be injured for them. You'd never pull out of those games, would you?
And you'd have got more caps.
I've been pulling something, but I won't be pulling out.
Deary me. I'll tell you a story, though. I'll tell you this. It reminds me, actually, I saw Jack Charlton once, and he was quite famous for getting the grandmother rule, as he called it. And I remember seeing him at some event, and I'd already been playing for England. He was joking, but he said, "Did you not have any Irish relatives? You must have had one somewhere." And I remember saying to him, "I don't, but my dad used to go fishing in Ireland every year. Would that count?" Rambo, who do you guys think should be the next England manager? Give us an English and a non-English answer. For me, there is no standout candidates, says Rambo. Not me. Well, it's a difficult
Are we
one.
talking realistic, though, guys? Are we talking like fairy tale? Because you want Pep Guardiola, if he stepped down from, are we talking like real time now? Like if it was
Klopp's available.
to happen?
Would a German take the England job, though? I don't know. I think Pep might prefer England over Spain, because he's Catalan, isn't he? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's easy to say you want, Klopp or Pep or someone like that. But I suppose that there's no obvious English candidate.
Well, the obvious one last season was Eddie Howe, but you know how football works. And we've taken Newcastle to 4th last year, and then I know they've struggled this year, but everyone would have said him last year. Yeah. So there's no doubt he will get a mention if or when the England job comes up.
And I think he'd probably do a really good job. But I think Pep's probably desperate for the job.
You know what? I'm going to shout. O'Neill. I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Gary O'Neill. Why not? If we talk about English, we're talking about English here.
I know that. It's a bit early for him. He's only really been managing almost a season and a half?
I know, yeah, but who else have we got? That's what people talk about. Change the manager. So we talk about English. The question was English and
I know.
outside of England as well. It's like, what have you got?
Fucking hell, that Sipsmith must be strong, is it?
Yeah. Do you know what I say? Give it to Shearer until the end of the World Cup.
I'm not that drunk.
Splash straight on. Laura Garside asks, what players do you think have been unlucky to have missed out on getting the call-up to the England team? Are there any players that missed out that you wish you had played with at international level? Steve Bruce was one, wasn't he?
Yeah, he'd be one that springs to mind, I think, because of what he and that team achieved in Man United. He was probably really unlucky not to play for England.
By and large, the top players will get some sort of opportunity, won't they? I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Think of anyone, Micah? You got a little smile on your face?
No, because I was just taking me back to my time at Aston Villa, and Steve Bruce is a great lad. Isn't he? He's a great lad.
I forgot you got a bit of grief with him.
Yeah, he's a great lad, but he's like he's sure of himself. He was a top player, you know what I mean? And I remember he was coming out from the changing room. He was walking towards the pitch, and he was saying something like banter-wise. We're talking. This is not serious. And he goes, "Put your medals on the table." I said, "Well, I've won a Premier League." Then he come back, "But you wasn't captain or something like that." I said, "But at least I play for England." And he was like, "Oh."
Did you? Brilliant.
I thought to myself, I've gone too far here. Do you know what I mean? But it was totally banter. But I was like...
No wonder you got stung for your interior design after that.
I'm bantering off Steve Bruce. Probably not the best way to go, but that's the sort of character he was. Like, he was a great character.
I'll be getting a text off him tomorrow now saying, "What the fuck's that Micah Richards on about again?"
Steve Smallwood also asked the same question, best player never to play for England. So I think we've answered that one, Steve, but thanks for putting in the question anyway. Craig Penny. All right, lads, love the show. Oh, thank you. My question is, what was your favourite moment while playing for England? I think we might have talked about these moments before. Mine was definitely not shitting on the pitch. Or missing the penalty against Brazil. But yeah, it has to be I don't know. I think probably the hat-trick against Poland in the World Cup was...
Did you score a hat-trick in the World Cup, did you?
Oh, Alan, have you forgotten? I think I mentioned it once. I'm sure I did it on... It might have been a previous... Yeah, not a previous series. But I tell you that the equaliser against Germany in 90, even though it didn't count for anything in the end, was as a moment was unbelievable. You know, with 10 minutes to go to get us back into the game.
I scored for England, I'll have you know as well.
Yeah, I know.
Against Israel, 4-0 win from the header. Don't worry, we've all scored for England. Come on, put some respect to my name, will you guys? See, it's not that hard, is it?
No, I'm only teasing, Mike. I'm only teasing. Was that your best moment, or maybe what?
No, but I think it was. I would say my debut, but that was away from home, wasn't it? So yeah, I think it was the first time I played at Wembley, and then you sort of soaking it all in, and then when the national anthem comes up, and you're looking, and then you get that little bit of nerve. What did they call that? In you're anxious, or the fire in your belly, or whatever that feeling is.
Adrenaline.
Yes, adrenaline. It's just like wow. And let's be honest, guys. I did it at 18. We're not talking about 18 I was doing this. 2 years ago, 2 years before that, I was playing like YTS football. So for me, it was just making that debut at Wembley. Wow, amazing.
That is a special moment, though, when you pull on that white shirt, and then you stand there, the national anthem goes. I mean, it is like, wow. It is wow. Alan, what's your best moment?
I would have to say the Holland game in '96.
Yeah.
That atmosphere that night was the best atmosphere I played in an England shirt. It was amazing.
They showed that goal again of yours on the screen, didn't they, at Wembley when we were there on Saturday night. Definitely sliced it. In fact, it's more like a shank.
Top corner, guys. Top corner. Pick your spot and hit it.
Come on, Al. Just admit, please, and just to the listeners and the viewers, you shanked it. Come on, you can shank one.
I'm disgusted in you, Micah Richards.
Disgusting.
Question from James. Seeing as though the England kit is in the press at the moment, what has been your favourite England kit over the years?
Oh, that one. The one that you and Gaza wore. Was it 96, was it?
96, yeah.
That is hands down.
I
the
think
blue
so, yeah.
and the numbers and the incredible kit that.
I loved the Mexico 86 one.
Yeah, yours was a nice one as well, wasn't it? Yeah.
I was lovely. And it had like pores in it because of the heat and the sweat. I tell you what it's terrible for though, signing. Oh, because it catches. You can't sign even any kind of pen or felt pen doesn't work on those shirts. Hopelessly difficult. But great. I thought it looked good.
Yeah, that was a nice shirt, yeah, but I'm with Micah.
The shorts were ridiculously short in the World Cup in 86.
Well, didn't that mean you rolled them right up as well, did it?
You couldn't roll them up. There's nothing to roll up. They were so short.
Did you not roll those shorts
No,
up?
it's
No.
like wearing a mankini.
No wonder you shit yourself.
Yeah. Jeff Hopcraft. I was wondering, given Ben White's England stance, was there ever an occasion where any of you did or would put club ahead of country?
Well, I did. I retired at 2000, didn't I? At the end, I had to because I had 3 serious injuries and I just couldn't. There was no way I could have carried on playing for England. So I retired in 2000. I was 29. So I had to do that. I didn't have a choice. I mean, it bloody hurt because to walk away from that as England captain and everything else, but it had to be done.
I did a similar thing for different reasons, but I knew my powers were waning anyway. So it's nice to go out when you feel, I'm going to say go out the top, but I was bloody hopeless at the Euros in '92. I was always so desperate to play for England. I would never. You'd play for anything. So, at the end, it's different when you finish in your career.
Oh, look at you two. Well, you can decide when you want to go. I didn't have that, to be honest.
Well, you started so much before us. You were in at 18.
No, I would have loved to have that dilemma, but I just didn't. You always want to play for England because it just sort of cemented your form for the club. I understand the question in Ben White's situation because basically he knows when everyone's fit he's not going to play. He obviously come home from the World Cup for whatever reasons, and yeah, he doesn't want to go, and we have to respect that. But I would always want to play for my country, no matter what.
Yeah, what do you make of the Ben White thing? Because obviously we've never been kind of told any reason, but I mean, you can't be judgmental because you don't know what's going on. He might struggle to be away, or it could. Who knows what it is? But I mean, it is quite unusual, isn't it?
It's very unusual. Yeah, I mean, you're right. We can't speculate as to why or how, or what, or all of those things. We just have to guess, don't we? My guess is he's had a row and he's not. I don't know, but maybe we're wrong. I don't know. It's really difficult to comment on something when you haven't got a clue what's going on in the background.
Yeah, if you haven't got the inside information.
Yeah.
What was interesting about it, is the talk around it when Gareth came out and said basically he spoke to Edu and he said he didn't want to be considered. So that's a bit that I found a little bit weird. Like, why is that in public news? You know what I mean? Like, and Gareth said what I didn't understand. He said he doesn't know the reasons why, but surely as England manager you would know the reasons why. That's the bit I didn't really understand.
Maybe he just doesn't want to share it, or who knows.
I think for Gareth to come out and say that, he knows that he would have got huge questions and loads of questions to why he hasn't picked him. He had to come out and say that first to clear him of that.
Question from Jason. Why do we keep picking likeable but limited midfield players such as Henderson and Gallagher when we have players such as Maddison, Jones and Mainu are just as energetic but superior footballers? Well, I think a bit hard on Jordan Henderson. He's had an absolutely fantastic career. He's been a brilliant player and performed magnificently for England. I can understand why you could say, why should he consider him now? Because obviously he went to Saudi Arabia and now he's playing in Eredivisie. I can understand that. But I think it's a bit unfair to say he was a limited footballer.
Yeah.
I think he was a really intelligent footballer. Conor Gallagher's, he's kind of been a squad sort of player. I mean, you can't fit everyone in. You've got to get a balance, I suppose. And Mainu, obviously, he's just emerging, and he's kind of promoted him immediately from the under-21s into his first team squad. So I think he sees a lot of talent in him. I love James Maddison. I'd love to see him play regularly for England, but you've also got to consider that in his position, you've got the likes of Bellingham, Foden. Palmer too, you could say, and you've got Saka on one side, You've got people like Rashford. So there's so much competition in those areas, which is also a really good thing for England, is it not?
Has to be, yeah. I mean, you can't. I think that's really harsh on Jordan, and I wouldn't use those words, but I think because of his experience, because of what he's done, what he's achieved, what he can bring to the squad, maybe off the pitch as well. Those are values that the manager has to respect as well. So, but there are without doubt the talent that is available is fantastic.
Here's a good one to end on from Kerry Byron. How will you celebrate if we win the Euros this year?
Whoa, what a party that would be. Imagine the Sunday night after the game. And we're all coming home on the Monday. So that Sunday night after the final, what a night that would be, wouldn't it? What a party we could have.
Karaoke, Al?
Yes,
He'll be
Micah.
singing into his breadsticks.
Oh, that would be brilliant. What a night. Don't get us going. Shouldn't get too excited.
You know, what are you going to do? Wear a wig, Alan? Or I think, do you know what I'm going to do? If England win the Euros, I'll say I'm going to shave my little tash and goatee off.
Really?
Yeah, I've been tempted anyway for a while.
Come on, guys. If they win the Euros, are you going to present in your boxes
No, I've done
again?
that. I've done
for
that.
For the first match of the day.
I've done that. I'm never going to do that again.
We don't want to see that again. I mean, come on, Jesus. And he's a little bit older now as
I
well.
was
His tits are
55,
coming
that
down
was
his
bad
waist
enough.
now.
I'm 63 now.
He's been tucking his tits in his underpants.
The nation does not need to see my moves. You, Micah, on the other hand, should definitely do it because you are Mr. Universe.
No. I've told you, for me to do that, I want a Calvin Klein deal. As soon as Calvin Klein if they want to sponsor the pod, I'll do it. I'll do it naked every week if you want.
I don't think I could handle that.
No.
Well, I didn't mean I could handle it. You know what I mean? I think I'd probably need two hands, would I, Micah? Hey! I was going to say that's a good way to end it, or bell end it, whichever one you want to call it. But, that is it for our question and answer episode. Thank you so much for sending in your questions, and keep them coming for next time. But for now, goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me. Okay, now.